Production support for the weekly special is provided by Smithville, a locally owned business serving central and southern Indiana since 1922, with residential and business internet, voice, and security services. Smithville, local pride, global technology. Information at smithville.net. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Tonight's all about unexpected journeys. We'll attend the Riley Cancer Center Prom with a special Bloomington family. Meet the man representing the U.S. in the Hot Air Balloon World Championships. And take a look back at Jim Lehrer's visit to southern Indiana. Plus, the Jenn Cristy Band is here to perform right now on the weekly special. Hello, I'm Joe Wren.
And I'm Pam Thrash. Tonight really explores different life perspectives, and we start with a very special story. On May 4th, Riley families gathered in Indianapolis for the 4th annual Riley Cancer Center Prom. It was a world of pure imagination. But for many of the attendees, that world wasn't about all chocolate rivers and golden tickets. It was about just being a normal kid.
The prom is for any cancer patient that's in active treatment or has been in treatment the last year. And when you suffer an illness, it's exhausting. And you don't get to do the normal things in life. And so this is so important for the families to be able to come and do just what everybody else does, is go to school dance, get dressed up, and have, sort of something to look forward to.
Over 350 Riley patients and families attended the Riley Cancer Center Prom, including 9-year-old Eli Diltz and his Bloomington family.
I think we kind of got an idea last year how big it was when all the doctors and nurses were saying, "Are you coming to prom? Are you coming to prom?" And we couldn't because he was so sick. My son Eli was diagnosed with medulloblastoma in November of 2010. We took him in for a checkup. They wanted to do a head CT just to make sure everything was okay, and then it wasn't. So we found ourselves at Riley that same night. He was in surgery the next day, and then we were on a journey for the next 9 months, basically. They did a tumor resection, and then he underwent 33 rounds of radiation, 6 months of chemo, which left him unable to walk, talk, feed himself, everything. So he had to learn all of that all over again while he was going through treatment. Unfortunately, the whole world doesn't halt on its axis, even though you want it to.
The one thing that I found that when we had a sick child, people would always say, "What can I do to help?" And you're in the midst of sometimes a crisis, or you're just overwhelmed, and you're so overwhelmed that you can't really pinpoint one thing. And so this is important to me because the families didn't say, "We want this." We just said, "Let us do something to help you." Even for a little while. We might not be able to take away all the hurt and all the pain, but maybe we can give you a little bit of fun.
Hosted by the Women for Riley organization, the annual festivities began with Promingdales. Over 1,000 donated dresses, tuxedos, shoes, and accessories line the shelves of the makeshift boutique.
It all kind of, I think, came to a cumulative effect in March when we got his last set of scans, and they were definitively clear, and they took his port out, and that was the last step. Like, that was their statement of, he doesn't need any more treatment, and we're sure of that. So let's move on to the next step. So, and that actually came right about the time of Promingdales and all that stuff. So this is like our celebration party, I think, of the end of a really long year and a half for him. What's been really great is to see all the kids that were on the unit with him, because we've seen a couple of his friends and they're all happy and healthy, and they have hair. And it's just nice to see people outside of the hospital setting. It means being a normal kid again, to be able to get out and do that fun kid stuff. He's here eating candy, and for months he couldn't eat anything. He was on a tube feed, and he can dress himself now and feed himself, and he can get out on the dance floor and talk to his doctors and talk to his nurses, and I think it's just one of the last steps back into really normal life for him. Tonight, to see some of these doctors that haven't seen Eli since he was an inpatient on the unit and incredibly sick, and to see the nurses that had to administer chemo to him once a week for 6 months, to see the looks and the smiles on their faces when they see him walking, talking. They see those kids at their absolute worst. They see us at our absolute worst. They carry us through days and they're up with us all night. And I think it's so incredibly important for them to see us smiling and having showered for a change, and mainly to see kids like Eli just functioning like a normal child, so that I can't imagine what it's like to work with that day in and day out, the sadness and the pain that all the doctors and nurses see. So I just think it's vital that they, at the end of the day, at the end of all this, what they do for these kids and for us. I mean, because of them, the 5 of us are here, you know, as a family. So it's just been, it was an incredible journey, and we met incredible people, and we still continue to meet incredible people. And yeah, we'll just forever be indebted to Riley for our son. Yeah.
Wow, such an incredible story, Pam.
I know, and it's awesome that Eli is doing so well now. We'll keep positive thoughts from him.
Absolutely.
We're going to change gears a little bit, Joe. This is really fun. Come on over here. We've got an incredible guest in the studio with us today.
How fun.
He's the owner of Limelite Balloons. We have Andy Richardson.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome to the studio. Thanks for bringing the big balloon basket. Obviously, we can't go up anywhere because we're inside. Where are you located?
We're located at the Monroe County Airport here in Bloomington, Indiana.
Okay, now take us back. How did you get into hot air ballooning?
It started at a really young age. We grew up right next to the Oliver Winery, and Bill Oliver was one of the first balloon pilots in Bloomington. And when he'd fly on the weekends as a young kid, I would get really excited to see the balloons and beg Mom and Dad to chase them down. And he was nice enough to let me help pack up. I was
cool.
you know, the young enthusiastic kid.
Yeah.
And it really got me hooked. And he took me for my first ride in 1994. And literally from that day, I just decided I had to do this.
And how old were you when you actually flew your first balloon?
When I flew my first balloon, I purchased my first balloon when I was 14 years old. I was a freshman in high school.
Wow.
And all my friends thought I was crazy, but
yeah.
it was well worth it.
None of the parents wanted their daughters to date you. Like, he's kind of crazy. No. And when did you decide to open up your own business and actually making these?
I built my first balloon in 2005, and that kind of transitioned into, well, you know, it was something that I really enjoyed doing, and it just kind of progressed into what it is now.
Now your passion has become your career, but there aren't many of these. There's only 1 in 6 in the whole country?
Yeah, for balloon manufacturing, there's only, other than myself, there's only 5 other options to purchase a new hot air balloon. So it's a very unique business.
And can people make them specialized as far as if you're going to make them for them?
They can. We don't do any inventory to sell. We are completely custom built. So you design it, you bring us your idea, and we'll design it on the computer and on the CAD program, and then we'll start making the balloon. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks to build an entire balloon.
That's not bad.
That's interesting.
And how many people can actually ride in the balloon?
This balloon is certified for a pilot and 1 passenger, so it's a fairly compact balloon.
Okay, now there's something else that's exciting going on other than you being one of 6 manufacturers in the country, but you're also, what, one of 2 people
selected to participate in the 30 and under World Championships in Lithuania.
That's amazing. Tell us about that.
I was nominated by the Balloon Federation of America, the national ballooning organization, and we are leaving 1 week from today. And I'm going over. I've never been out of the country, but I'm going for the first time.
Are you going to ride in your balloon to get there?
No. I would have had to have left last week.
That's really exciting, and we will keep our fingers crossed for you and hope that all goes well. How do you win something like that?
It's everybody calls it a balloon race, but that's not necessarily the right term. It's an accuracy thing. So they'll put out different GPS coordinates, and we'll all take off together, and it's based off of a point system on how accurate you are getting to a certain location.
That's really exciting.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Now, do you give rides as well?
We do. We offer balloon rides. We're based out of the Monroe County Airport. You can call ahead and schedule your flight, and we fly year-round. We fly 7 days a week.
Okay. And what's the website people can go to if they're interested in information?
Airbusballoonrides.com is
Okay.
is how we sell the balloon rides, and the balloon manufacturing business is called limeliteballoons.com.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming in today and having this all set up for us. I'm going to have to try it one of these days. And we wish you the best of luck in the World Championships. So again, thanks for stopping by. Well, it may not be a hot air balloon ride, but there are a lot of sport enthusiasts focused on flight of a different kind.
I didn't know what Ultimate was to begin with, but I thought it looked like a fun thing to do.
Ultimate is a lot of fun. It's a great sport, and it's actually pretty simple. You got 7 people on each team on the field at a time, and you have 3 handlers and 4 cutters. And so the 3 handlers are a little bit like point guards in basketball. Bring the ball down the court, bring the disc down the field. We have cutters that cut in, cut deep, and the goal is to move the disc as far down the field as fast as possible without any drops. And from there, it's scoring in the end zone. When you're on the end zone, it is just as intense as it is watching a football game. I mean, everybody is lined up, everybody is on their man, and the one thing that defense has to do is stop you from scoring. And the only thing you want to do on the line is patiently, and very intelligently move your disc into the end zone. It has to get there.
There was definitely a learning curve in learning Ultimate Frisbee and getting into the game. And when I started, I didn't know what it was, and obviously with any team situation, there's definitely always some communication issues.
It isn't a sport that you read the rule book for. It's something you learn through experience. And part of the spirit of the game is that everyone who knows how to play and those who are a bit more experienced than you are very willing to tell you what to do. So it's very easy to learn because the culture is there to support your learning.
We're playing together, working with each other, and learning so much about both the sport and the team members. The whole mentality around Ultimate Frisbee is different, I would say, than a lot of the other sports. Like, it's definitely a fun environment, but it's a very, very competitive environment at the same time. Like I said, the girls, we have a great time, but we are absolutely there to win the games and to do well.
I think a great Ultimate Frisbee player combines all the elements of the game and the spirit and the experience. They're there for the game. They're not there solely to win.
My favorite thing about Ultimate Frisbee would probably be just the fun that we have. As good or as terrible as a practice or a game goes, we're having a good time doing it.
Off the field, you're just as close to your team as you are on the field, even more so than any other team sport I've been in.
It's definitely a unique sport, but I love it.
That looks fun and pretty challenging too. Joe's over there, and Joe, looks like you've got a great band.
I do, Pam. Here is the Jenn Cristy Band.
Drowning that haunts you in the middle of the night. You
That was awesome. Jenn Cristy Band, wow. Thanks so much for being here. That sounded great. Now, that song was part of your new CD.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the song that we just heard.
It's called Go, 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 and strangely enough, when I wrote it, being a former swimmer, I always listen to music before I swam, so I was like, I'll write a song that I would, if I was still a swimmer, I would listen to and would get me all jacked up, so.
But you weren't just a swimmer, if I remember right. You were a Big Ten champion?
Yes.
In what? What was that?
5 times I got 50 free and 100 free. So I was a sprinter.
Wow. At Indiana?
Yes.
That's awesome. Now, you have the CD coming out. Is it this week or is it already out?
It is officially tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Friday. Yes.
Friday. And you're having a big party.
Yes, a very big party at Jake's.
Tell us all about it.
Well, we always have a CD release to introduce the album to everybody. And it's with Blue Moon Review opening at 10. We're on right after them. It's only $10. There's gonna be music all night long. We have Ryan Brewer opening in the front at 8, and it's gonna be awesome. Like, we have backup singers. We have 2 backup singers, and I have a backing keyboardist. And obviously, I'm like really excited about it.
Cool. Hey, introduce the band for us too.
Over here, today? Chris McConnell on guitar, Dave Winnell on drums, and Alan Peraz on bass.
Great. And is there anything maybe different that you brought to this CD from the others that we've heard?
I think it's just overall, it's a more solid CD. All the songs are fantastic. There's not a song on there that I was like, and we've had it for 3 months, something like that, and I still love every song on it. I think musically, they helped arrange a lot more than in the past, and so it was a group project this time, and it really shows. Like, everybody shines amazingly on this album. So.
Great, and you have one more song coming up later in the show. What song are we going to hear?
That's going to be Crawl, it's the title track from the album.
Wonderful. Details are on the screen for the CD launch party. But first, Pam has a sneak peek at WTIU's interview with PBS's Jim Lehrer.
Thanks, Joe. A few weeks ago, we sat down with Mr. Lehrer as he reflected on his career, his life, and what has shaped him as a journalist.
The friend of all people of goodwill, a believer in the dignity and equality of all human beings, a fighter for justice, an apostle of peace, has been snatched from our midst by the bullet of an assassin.
My assignment that day was to cover the Kennedys' arrival at Love Field and then stay there until the Kennedys left and report on that. I was testing the telephone with the rewrite guy, and he said to me, "Is the bubble top up on the presidential limousine?" So I said, okay, I'll find out. So I go down to the top of the ramp. The head of the Dallas office of the Secret Service was standing right there at the top of the ramp. Fortunately, and I knew him. And I looked down, and I could see the cars, and there were 3 cars down was the limo, the presidential limo, and the bubble top was up, and it was covering the car. I asked, "Are you going to leave the bubble top up? Rewrite what's enough, you know?" And he looks up at the sky, and he says, "Well, it's certainly clear here." And he yells at an agent standing down the ramp who's got a 2-way radio. He says, "Check downtown, see if it's," so the guy says, "Clear downtown." So then the agent turns around to the other agent and says, "Lose the bubble top." Okay. So I go back to my phone and I tell Rewrite, "Bubble top's down." My story from then on is somehow I got through to the city desk when I heard there'd been shots fired in the motorcade, and the city desk says, go to Parkland Hospital. I get there just as they announce that Kennedy is dead. At midnight that night, out walked 4 or 5, guys in suits, and one of them was this Secret Service agent, the guy who had said, "Lose the bubble." He comes over to me. He sees me, and he comes over to me. He was an old man. He's probably 42 years old. Comes over to me. He's got tears in his eyes, and he says, "Oh, Jim, I just haven't taken down the bubble top." And of course, I'm thinking, oh my God, if I just hadn't asked you about the bubble top. And then of course, and it was my story and his story was one of thousands of what-if stories that developed after that. The people who argued for a motorcade and against a motorcade. Yes, you had to get into the zone to do your job, but then every once in a while there would be a moment when where in my case and others, we just look at each other and say, "God, I can't believe this, oh my God." it's what, they shot the president? I mean, he's dead. I mean, you know, it's one of those. It was constantly going back and forth, and it was extraordinary, and it was a life-changing experience for me as a journalist. In this way, I was 4 years in to being a reporter, newspaper reporter, and what I learned from the Kennedy assassination experience was, as a journalist, that everything about life is fragile. At any given moment, one person can get off 3 rounds, change the course of history.
That is just incredible. To hear the entire interview, remember to tune into WFIU's Profiles in June. What a show we had tonight. Quite diverse.
Yes, hot air balloons. Jenn Cristy, she is absolutely wonderful.
Have you ever been up in a hot air balloon?
No, but now I really, really want to.
Do you? I don't know. I think I would be scared, but
yeah, no,
maybe.
I don't know.
That is all for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Here's more from Jenn Cristy. Good night.
As you smile when it comes back, and it makes you miss the little things, all the places that we've been at. I never really thought about it. It's a kindness you've shown to me, for you to help me make a beautiful thing, cutting through the hate, jealousy. But it's cold in here. I'm getting desperate for some confirmation that I'm not the only one making the next move. Something to prove. It's getting cold in here, and her hand can't possibly warm your cold heart. I know your strengths, I know your walls. She can make you walk, and I can make you crawl. The lines on my face start where my smile breaks, and it's all thanks to you, 'cause you made me laugh when I didn't want to, and the tears falling from my eyes are my best disguise to keep me from saying what I want to. But it's the way I really feel about you. It's getting cold in here. I'm getting desperate for some confirmation that I'm not the only one making the next move, the only one left with something to prove. It's getting cold in here, and her hand can't possibly warm your cold heart. I know your strengths, I know your walls. She can make you walk, and I can make you crawl. I can't bear to let you in again. It's only gonna lead us back to the start, and the lessons I've learned from you is that it's easy to play games with one's heart. It will just be broken again. Can't make up my mind again. Gonna fall in love again. Gonna fall right back in love again. It's just so cold in here. I'm getting desperate for some confirmation that I'm not the only one making the next move, the only one left with something to prove. It's getting cold in here, and her hand can't possibly warm your cold heart. I know your strength, I know your walls. She can make you walk, and I can make you crawl. I can make you crawl.
Production support for the weekly special is provided by Smithville, a locally owned business serving central and southern Indiana since 1922, with residential and business internet, voice, and security services. Smithville, local pride, global technology. Information at smithville.net. And by WTIU members. Thank you.